Welcome to Drive Your Own Adventure with Benjamin Starr. With holiday parks and resorts across New South Wales and Queensland, find your dream destination with Ingenia Holidays.
Okay, we're driving our own adventure. Time for a wine break. We've got lovely Mary joining us in the studio, the Hill of Promise. What a lovely name. How are you, Mary?
Hi, Ben. Fine, thank you.
Hey, tell me, this is an interesting story. We've had a bit of a chat before the interview, but the whole family, how it all got here, and there's a link with Sicily, and there's all this wonderful culture going on.
Well, I grew up in Brisbane with an Irish-German background.
Yeah.
Much more Irish than German in lots of ways.
Yeah.
And I did an arts degree and a diploma in education at University of Queensland, and then took a job with the Queensland Education Department and ended up being transferred to Childers to teach 8 students in Year 12 German.
Childers is a lovely place, though. Tell us a little bit about the town, because it is quite a very quaint little town.
It is. This area here was very rich in timber. So it was originally timber, hoop pine, in the 1870s.
Yes.
A lot of Egyptology, hence the name of the Isis district. So Childers itself, a little township that was rooted in the sugar industry. So sugarcane, the cane was cut by hand.
It's hard to believe that when you see today, isn't it, how it's all done with machines. How did they do it?
Yeah. Well, with cane knives and getting up
work.
A lot of it was very, very hard work. Well, where we are here, we're on a hill.
Yeah.
So the thing about Childers, the Childers area, is it's volcanic hills. Bundaberg, Maryborough, Harvey Bay are flat, so you're coming up into this hinterland area where there are hills. They're not mountains, but they're hills.
Yes.
So you get these rolling hills, and that was fine when cane was cut by hand. Once people started inventing cane harvesters and also tractors came in rather than horses, it was too steep, so they had to reallocate. But yes, they'd be up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, cane cutting was for a certain season, so usually sort of June to December, depending on how much rain had fallen in the first 6 months to how much cane was available to cut. So it was cut by hand.
Unbelievable. But this region here is amazing with what you do in terms of the product that you're offering, which is, your winery. How did you get into doing the winery?
Oh, well, as I said, my husband, Irish Sicilian, so he's a little bit mad, a little bit crazy. So I think he'd always had a dream, and he had always wanted to plant some grapes, because in his family background, his grandparents came here as 16 and 17-year-olds. So, as you know, most Italians, especially Sicilians, always put some grapevines in, and they like to make their own wine. So he'd had this background of making some wine with his grandparents, and even making champagne when he was about 16 from pineapples.
Oh, wow.
So
do you grow the wine on the property now still?
Reds from the dam up that side, and then whites this side. And we had them in for about 7 years. But if you know this area here, it's not famous for grape. It's not that it's unsuitable. It's just not something that's been grown commercially for long enough. Long enough, that's right. Yeah. Humidity is the problem. It's not the heat.
Yes.
If you think Greece, Portugal, Spain, the heat's not, but the humidity is. So, so we had grapes in for. We had a couple of reds in and whites as well. But we had a couple of hailstorms.
Oh, right.
The 6th year and the 7th year in November, we had a very strong hailstorm, which is fruit, because grapes, soft fruit, destroyed it easily. Second one was a tornado, so we stopped growing grapes. We decided let's concentrate on the wine making side rather than on the grape growing side.
So the wine making is a whole process in itself.
When we first started, we rented premises in town and made wine in there, but then to get it bottled, we'd be shipping it to the South Burnett up to the Kingaroy area, which you can imagine shifting 1,000 litres of something. If a bung goes off on you, which did happen. So we eventually built the winery here, and Terry did all the refrigeration. It's cool all year round.
Right. Okay.
So it's an even temperature all year round, which cuts down your electricity
bills.
We put solar on as well, so we try to be as environmentally friendly. That's just the way we live our lives here anyway.
Yeah. Everybody seems to be like that on these series of podcasts that we've been doing. You guys are all leading ecotourism in very different ways. You're all doing the solar or looking after the environment. How has tourism changed in the time that you've been here?
The climate is the big plus. It's pretty well ideal. In the middle, this is the middle of winter. What's it like?
I know, it's
Beautiful
beautiful.
winter day.
It's beautiful.
So it means people can come. The whale watching at
Yes.
the Hervey Bay area and turtles in the Bundaberg area
Yes.
have really, that's what's changed the most, I think, in the
Really?
last
In the last, 10, 15
10,
years?
15 years, yes.
Wow.
The whole marketing or the thrust of looking at Lady Elliot and Lady Musgrave
Yes.
as the most southerly tip of the Great Barrier Reef. It is stunning.
So tell us about what you offer people. If they're coming up this way in this region, they can call in and even stay here because you've got accommodation.
That's right. Well, we've got bed and breakfast accommodation here. People can call in and have tastings, wine tastings,
Yeah.
and wine purchases, but they can also bring lunch. There's a veranda where they can have lunch, places in the garden where they
Yes.
can, so they can bring their own, buy a bottle of wine, buy a glass of wine. Usually it's hearing about the district here, a little bit about the family history, but also we took recipes, and so they're working with
Sure.
recipes and some herbs. And
So
things like that.
you went from teaching to doing all this type of stuff, the tourism stuff. Which was harder?
There's still teaching involved because I don't profess to know everything about wine. I come from a beer drinking family, so it's been an experiment for me. But I've got a fairly sensitive sense of smell, and I'm very interested in taste as well.
Sure.
So just to be out, it's a whole learning experience.
Yeah.
We make, for example, sparkling, and it's champagne, but this is not this is not champagne. So I have
Yeah.
there's a sort of you'd possibly know the explanation. This is not the Champagne area, so I totally agree with the French. You can't call it champagne. People have got, over the years, over the centuries, they've taught the sparkling wine from the Champagne district of France was just referred to as champagne.
That's right.
But as you know, it's a district, it's a geographical entity.
Yes.
So unless it's made in Champagne, and they have every right to, you cannot call it champagne. But we make a sparkling wine made using méthode de champenoise, which means
Right.
it's double fermented, bottle fermented, and there's a lot of handling that goes on.
Yeah.
And I think what's wonderful is to read the story of the women involved in the champagne industry, especially one whose name was Barbe Nicole Ponsadin. She married into the Clicquot family. I know this is a long story, but it's got an end to it. She married into the Clicquot family. Married at 21, a widow at 27. She worked out how to clarify champagne.
Oh, really? There's a lot of science in the whole thing too, isn't there?
It is.
It's all a science.
It is science, and it's not just hit and miss. I mean, cleanliness, 24 hours. Preparation is 98%. The actual bottling is the 2%. And then there's the clean-up afterwards. So, yeah.
And then Terry was telling me you've then got to polish the bottles.
Yes, you've got to wash them and polish them.
And then you've got to put the labels, on them. And then you've got to sell them.
That's right. That's right.
So it's a lot of labour involved, isn't it?
I mean, it's still a business.
Yeah.
But by the same token, it's I always say every one of the bottles that you open has got pride, passion, and a respect for tradition in there. So, as I said, we don't use preservatives, so we don't use sulfur dioxide or 220, which is the way wine has been made traditionally for probably 5,000 to 6,000 years.
Right, okay.
So the natural preservative, people say, well, how does it keep? Well, it's got alcohol.
Yeah.
It's alcohol as a natural preservative. And in the case of reds, you've got tannin from oak as well. So I like to know why things happen the way they do. And if you explain that to people, it gives an appreciation. I think if you've cooked a meal, you have an appreciation for it when you sit down to eat it.
Yes.
So it's the same thing when you enjoy. So we do find people enjoy that side of
So when people come to the town or come into this district, what do you recommend that they should do? If they're only here for a short time, what are three things that they should definitely do to experience this beautiful area?
Well, of course, if you're at Hervey Bay, you've got
whales.
Whales, yes.
You can have a whale of a time.
You can have a whale of a time. That's right. And generally speaking, if the weather turns a little bit sour, don't wait for that to happen. Plan the day, but come through to Childers. Childers itself is an historic town. The architecture, the buildings that are there, very well preserved. There's a fantastic visitor information centre. There's an art gallery, a pharmaceutical museum, a military museum as well.
I've read about the military museum. Is that fabulous?
Bit of something for everyone.
Yeah.
The pharmaceutical museum as well. It was a working pharmacy. It's tessellated floors, beautiful red cedar outfit. Slow down. Walk and have a look at the architecture. If you're coming, you can bring a picnic. You can bring lunch. It can be as simple as some salami, some cheese, a breadstick.
Yeah.
Sit in the garden, enjoy. It's the slower pace. I'm fortunate here. I see sunrise every morning.
Yes.
and it's different every day.
Yeah.
Depends on whether it's foggy, but it's just watching that burst and the colour change. And at night, we had family home over the weekend, and it was Saturday night. We were walking back, and I just said, "Stop, look up," because there are no lights here. Look up at the sky, the Southern Cross, the stars, and that's what we say to people from Europe. Make sure that you go out at night and have a look at the stars, because that's the one thing. It's free.
It's stunning.
It is stunning.
Yeah.
It is stunning. So this whole area here, there's such a variety.
Now, if people want to come and visit you, what's the address?
Where are we? It's 8 Mango Hill Drive. Technically, it's Horton.
Yes.
Yes, Terry probably explained our main roads and that. But anyway, if you go to the website, it will give the directions there, and usually SatNav will find us.
And
anyway.
can people come down and watch you do the bottling? Do you do stuff like that, or is it pretty much behind closed doors?
Well, it's because it can be pretty hairy.
Yeah.
If people want to come in groups, if there's a group of people, we do groups for 15 in the winery.
Yep.
Okay, there's a charge there. Whereas if they just come off the road, off the highway, the cellar door, it's free. The tastings are free. But if they're sitting there, we incorporate a bit about the process in the tasting. But I don't call it a tasting. I call it a wine experience.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. So you're surrounded by barrels, the equipment. Yes, it would be nice to be able, but we don't. It's not as though there's something happening there every day.
I understand.
Yes. So, and people come in off the road. Can we have a tour of the winery?
Well, look, thank you very much for your story today. It was very, very interesting. And of course, if you'd like to find out more information, you can log on to Drive Your Own Adventure. Ingenia Holidays have all these great offerings, and we'll tell you where to go. A short drive up the hill, and Mary will be there ready at the door at the wine cellar.
Mm-hmm. But the only thing we say is if you're making a special trip, give me a quick call, because we do have funerals and the dentist to go to, believe it or not. And people do that. It's a quick call. Are you home today? Home tomorrow? It just we hate to disappoint, but we still have...
you still have commitments.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. All right. So, thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks for listening to Drive Your Own Adventure with Ingenia Holidays. With holiday parks and resorts across New South Wales and Queensland, Ingenia Holidays offers the ideal place for an extended break, weekend getaway or short stopover. Find your dream destination with Ingenia Holidays at www.ingeniaholidays.com.au.